Verse for opening a sutra. The unsurpassed profound and wonderful Dharma is difficult to encounter in hundreds of millions of aeons. I now see and hear it, receive and uphold it, and I vow to fathom the Tathagata's true meaning.
The Sutra of the foremost Shurangama at the great Buddhist summit concerning the Tathagata's secret course of cultivation, his certification to the complete meaning, and all bodhisattvas' myriad practices. Translated during the Tang dynasty by Shramana Paramiti from central India, reviewed by Shramana Megashikara from Udayana, certified by Shramana Huati from Nanluo Monastery on Luo Fu Mountain, edited by Bodhisattva Precepts disciple Fang Yong of Qinghe, former censor of state and concurrently attendant and minister and court regulator.
Translated into English by the Buddhist Text Translation Society.
Ananda straightened his robes and then bowed in the midst of the assembly and placed his palms together. The tracks of his mind were perfectly clear, and he felt a mixture of joy and sorrow. His intent was to benefit beings in the future, as he made obeisance and said to the Buddha, "Greatly compassionate, world-honored one, I've already awakened and received this teaching for becoming a Buddha, and I can cultivate it without the slightest doubt. I've often heard the thus come one say, 'Save others first, then save yourself.' This is the aspiration of a bodhisattva. Once your own enlightenment is perfected, then you can enlighten others. That is the way the thus come one responds to the world. Although I am not yet saved, I vow to save all living beings in the Dharma ending age. World-honored one, those living beings will gradually drift away from the Buddha, and there will be as many deviant teachers propounding their methods as there are sands in the Ganges. I want to enable those beings to collect their thoughts and enter samadhi. How can I cause them to reside peacefully in the bodhimanda, far from the exploits of demons, and be irreversible in their resolve for bodhi?" At that time, the world-honored one praised Ananda in front of the whole assembly, saying, "Good indeed. How good it is that you have asked how to establish a bodhimanda, and to rescue and protect living beings who are sunk in the morass of the final age. Listen well now, and I will tell you." Ananda and the great assembly agreed to uphold the teaching. The Buddha told Ananda, "You constantly hear me explain in the Vinaya that there are three unalterable aspects to cultivation. That is, collecting one's thoughts constitutes the precepts. From the precepts comes samadhi, and out of samadhi arises wisdom. Samadhi arises from precepts, and wisdom is revealed out of samadhi. These are called the three non-outflow studies." Ananda, why do I call collecting one's thoughts the precepts? If living beings in the six paths of any mundane world had no thoughts of lust, they would not have to follow a continual succession of births and deaths. Your basic purpose in cultivating is to transcend the wearisome defilements. But if you don't renounce your lustful thoughts, you will not be able to get out of the dust. Even though one may have some wisdom and the manifestation of chance samadhi, one is certain to enter demonic paths if one does not cut off lust. At best, one will be a demon king. On the average, one will be in the retinue of demons. At the lowest level, one will be a female demon. These demons have their groups of disciples. Each says of himself that he has accomplished the unsurpassed way. After my extinction, in the Dharma ending age, these hosts of demons will abound, spreading like wildfire, as they openly practice greed and lust. Claiming to be good knowing advisers, they will cause living beings to fall into the pit of love and views and lose the way to bodhi. When you teach people in the world to cultivate samadhi, they must first of all sever the mind of lust. This is the first clear and unalterable instruction on purity given by the dust come ones and the Buddhists of the past, world-honored ones. Therefore, Ananda, if cultivators of chant samadhi do not cut off lust, they'll be like someone who cooks sand in the hope of getting rice. After hundreds of thousands of aeons, it will still be just hot sand. Why? It wasn't rice to begin with. It was only sand. If you seek the Buddha's wonderful fruition and still have physical lust, then even if you attain a wonderful awakening, it will be based on lust. With lust at the source, you will revolve in the three paths and not be able to get out. Which road will you take to cultivate and be certified to the dust come one's nirvana? You must cut off the lust, which is intrinsic in both body and mind, then get rid of even the aspect of cutting it off. At that point, you have some hope of attaining the Buddha's bodhi. What I've said here is the Buddha's teaching. Any explanation counter to it is the teaching of Papiyan. Further, Ananda, if living beings in the six paths of any mundane world had no thoughts of killing, they would not have to follow a continual succession of births and deaths. Your basic purpose in cultivating samadhi is to transcend the wearisome defilements. But if you do not renounce your thoughts of killing, you will not be able to get out of the dust. Even though one may have some wisdom and the manifestation of chant samadhi, one is certain to enter the path of spirits if one does not cease killing. At best, a person will become a mighty ghost. On the average, one will become a flying yaksha, a ghost leader, or the like. At the lowest level, one will become an earth-bound raksasa. These ghosts and spirits have their groups of disciples. Each says of himself that he has accomplished the unsurpassed way. After my extinction, in the Dharma ending age, these hosts of ghosts and spirits will abound, spreading like wildfire as they argue that eating meat will bring one to Bodhi way. Ananda, I permit the bhikshus to eat 5 kinds of pure meat. This meat is actually a transformation brought into being by my spiritual powers. It basically has no life force. You Brahmins live in a climate so hot and humid, and on such sandy and rocky land, that vegetables will not grow. Therefore, I have had to assist you with spiritual powers and compassion. Because of the magnitude of this kindness and compassion, what you eat that tastes like meat is merely said to be meat. In fact, however, it is not. After my extinction, how can those who eat the flesh of living beings be called the disciples of Sakya? You should know that these people who eat meat may gain some awareness and may seem to be in samadhi, but they are all great raksasas. When their retribution ends, they are bound to sink into the bitter sea of birth and death. They are not disciples of the Buddha. Such people as these kill and eat one another in a never-ending cycle. How can such people transcend the triple realm? When you teach people in the world to cultivate samadhi, they must also cut off killing. This is a second clear and unalterable instruction on purity given by the dust come ones and the Buddhists of the past, world-honored ones. Therefore, Ananda, if cultivators of chant samadhi do not cut off killing, they are like one who stops up his ears and calls out in a loud voice, expecting no one to hear him. It is to wish to hide what is completely evident. Bodhisattvas and bhikshus who practice purity will not even step on grass in the pathway, even less will they pull it up with their hand. How can one, with great compassion, pick up the flesh and blood of living beings and proceed to eat his fill? Bhikshus who do not wear silk, leather boots, furs, or down from this country, or consume milk, cream, or butter, can truly transcend this world. When they have paid back their past debts, they will not have to re-enter the triple realm. Why? It is because when one wears something taken from a living creature, one creates conditions with it, just as when people eat the 100 grains, their feet cannot leave the earth. Both physically and mentally, one must avoid the bodies and the byproducts of living beings by neither wearing them nor eating them. I see that such people have true liberation. What I've said here is the Buddhist teaching. Any explanation counter to it is the teaching of Papian. Further, Ananda, if living beings in the 6 paths of any mundane world had no thoughts of stealing, they would not have to follow a continuous succession of births and deaths. Your basic purpose in cultivating samadhi is to transcend the wearisome defilements, but if you do not renounce your thoughts of stealing, you will not be able to get out of the dust. Even though one may have some wisdom and the manifestation of chance samadhi, one is certain to enter a devious path if one does not cease stealing. At best, one will be an apparition. On the average, one will become a phantom. At the lowest level, one will be a devious person who is possessed by a May ghost. These devious hosts have their groups of disciples. Each says of himself that he has accomplished the unsurpassed way. After my extinction, in the Dharma ending age, these phantoms and apparitions will abound, spreading like wildfire, as they surreptitiously cheat others, calling themselves good-knowing advisers. They will each say that they have attained the superhuman abilities, and teasing and deceiving the ignorant, or frightening them out of their wits, they disrupt and lay waste to households wherever they go. I teach the bhikshus to beg for their food in an assigned place, in order to help them renounce greed and accomplish the Bodhi way. The bhikshus do not prepare their own food, so that at the end of this life of transitory existence in the triple realm, they can show themselves to be once returners who go and do not come back. How could thieves put on my robes and sell the dust come one, saying that all manner of karma one creates is just the Bodhidharma? They slander those who have left the home life and regard bhikshus who have taken complete precepts as belonging to the path of the small vehicle. Because of such doubts and misjudgments, limitless living beings fall into the relentless hell. I say that bhikshus who, after my extinction, have decisive resolve to cultivate samadhi, and who before the images of the come ones can burn a candle on their bodies, or burn off a finger, or burn even one incense stick on their bodies, will, at that moment, repay their debts from beginningless time past. They can depart from the world and forever be free of outflows. Though they may not have instantly understood the unsurpassed enlightenment, they will already have firmly set their mind on it. If one does not practice any of these token renunciations of the body on the causal ground, then even if one realizes the unconditioned, one will still have to come back as a person to repay one's past debts, exactly as I had to undergo the retribution of having to eat the grain meant for horses. When you teach people in the world to cultivate samadhi, they must also cease stealing. This is the third clear and unalterable instruction on purity. given by the Daskam One and the Buddhists of the past, world-honored ones. Therefore, Ananda, if cultivators of chant samadhi do not cease stealing, they are like someone who pours water into a leaking cup and hopes to fill it. He may continue for as many aeons as there are fine motes of dust, but it still will not be full in the end. If bhikshus do not store away anything but their robes and bowls, if they give what is left over from their food offerings to hungry living beings, if they put their palms together and make obeisance to the entire great assembly, if when people scold them, they can treat it as praise, if they can sacrifice their very bodies and minds, giving their flesh, bones, and blood to living creatures, and if they do not repeat the non-ultimate teachings of the Daskam One as though they were their own explanations, misrepresenting them to those who have just begun to study, then the Buddha gives them his seal as having attained true samadhi. What I've said here is the Buddha's teaching. Any explanation counter to it is the teaching of Papiyan. Ananda, though living beings in the six paths of any mundane world may not kill, steal, or lust either physically or mentally, these three aspects of their conduct thus being perfect, yet if they tell lies, the samadhi they attain will not be pure. They'll become demons of love and views, and will lose the seed of the Daskam One. They say that they have attained what they have not attained, and that they have been certified when they have not been certified. Perhaps they seek to be foremost in the world, the most venerated and superior person. To their audience they say that they have attained the fruition of a Shrotapanna, the fruition of a Sakradagamin, the fruition of an Anagamin, the fruition of Arahatship, the Pachika Buddha vehicle, or the various levels of bodhisattvahood, up to and including the 10 grounds, in order to be revered by others, and because they are greedy for offerings. These Ichantikas destroy the seeds of Buddhahood, just as surely as a tala tree is destroyed if it is chopped down. The Buddha predicts that such people sever their good roots forever and lose their knowledge and vision. Immersed in the sea of the three sufferings, they cannot attain samadhi. I command the bodhisattvas and arahats to appear after my extinction in response bodies in the Dharma-ending age, and to take various forms in order to rescue those in a cycle of rebirth. They should either become Shramanas, white-robed lay people, kings, ministers or officials, virgin youths or maidens, and so forth, even prostitutes, widows, profligates, thieves, butchers, or dealers in contraband, doing the same things as these kinds of people, while they praise the Buddha vehicle and cause them to enter samadhi in body and mind. But they should never say of themselves, I'm truly a bodhisattva, or I'm truly an arahat, or let the Buddha's secret cause leak out by speaking casually to those who have not yet studied. How can people who make such claims, other than at the end of their lives, and then only to those who inherit the teaching, be doing anything but deluding and confusing living beings and indulging in a gross false claim? When you teach people in the world to cultivate samadhi, they must also cease all lying. This is the fourth clear and unalterable instruction on purity given by the Daskam Ones and the Buddhists of the past, world-honored ones. Therefore, Ananda, one who does not cut off lying, is like a person who carves a piece of human excrement to look like chandana, hoping to make it fragrant. He is attempting the impossible. I teach the bhikshus that the straight mind is the bodhimanda, and that they should practice the 4 awesome deportments in all their activities, since they should be devoid of all falseness. how can they claim to have themselves attained the abilities of a superior person? That would be like a poor person falsely calling himself an emperor. For that, he will be taken and executed. Much less should one attempt to usurp the title of Dharma King. When the cause ground is not true, the effects will be distorted. One who seeks the Buddhist Bodhi in this way is like a person who tries to bite his own navel. Who could possibly succeed? If bhikshus' minds are as straight as lute strings, true and real in everything they do, then they can enter samadhi and never be involved in the deeds of demons. I certify that such people will accomplish the bodhisattva's unsurpassed knowledge and enlightenment. What I've said here is the Buddhist teaching. Any explanation counter to it is the teaching of Papiya. Ananda, you asked about collecting one's thoughts. I've now begun to explain the wonderful method of cultivation for entrance into samadhi. Those who seek the bodhisattva way must first be as pure as glistening frost in keeping these 4 rules of deportment. If one is able to never give rise to anything superfluous, then the 3 evils of the mind and the 4 of the mouth will have no cause to come forth. Ananda, if one does not neglect these 4 matters, and further, if one does not pursue forms, fragrances, tastes, or objects of touch, then how can any demonic deeds arise? If there are people who cannot put an end to their habits from the past, you should teach them to single-mindedly recite My Light atop the Buddhist summit, unsurpassed spiritual mantra, Moho Satanto Podala. It is the invisible appearance atop the summit of the Thus Come One. It is a spiritual mantra proclaimed by the Buddha of the unconditioned mind, who comes forth from the summit in the blaze of light and sits upon the jeweled lotus flower. What is more, your past lives with Matangi's daughter created accumulated kalpas of causes and conditions. Your habits of fondness and emotional love go back not just 1 life, nor even just 1 kalpa. Yet as soon as I proclaimed it, she was freed forever from the love in her heart and accomplished arhatship. That prostitute, who had no intention of cultivating, was imperceptibly aided by that spiritual power and was swiftly certified to the position beyond learning. Then what about you, sound hearers in the assembly, who seek the most supreme vehicle and are resolved to accomplish Buddhahood? For you, it should be as easy as tossing dust into a favorable wind. What then is the problem? Those in the final age who wish to sit in the bodhimanda must first hold the pure precepts of a bhikshu. To do so, they must find as their teacher a foremost Shramana who is pure in the precepts. If they do not encounter a member of the Sangha who is truly pure, then it is absolutely certain that their deportment in precepts and rules cannot be accomplished. After accomplishing the precepts, they should put on fresh, clean clothes, light incense in the place where they are alone, and recite the spiritual mantra spoken by the Buddha of the mind 108 times. After that, they should secure the boundaries and establish the bodhimanda. In the countries within them, they should seek for the unsurpassed Thus Come Ones throughout the 10 directions to emit a light of great compassion and anoint the crowns of their heads. Ananda, when any such pure bhikshus, bhikshunis, or white-robed donors in the Dharma-ending age, who can rid their minds of greed and lust, hold the Buddhist pure precepts, and in the bodhimanda make the vows of a bodhisattva, and can bathe upon entering each time and day and night for 3 weeks without sleep, continue this practice of the way, I will appear before these people in a physical form and rub the crowns of their heads to comfort them and enable them to become enlightened. Ananda said to the Buddha, World-honored one, enveloped in the thus come one's unsurpassed compassionate instruction, my mind has already become enlightened, and I know how to cultivate and be certified to the path beyond learning. But for those who cultivate in the final age and want to establish a bodhimanda, how do they secure the boundaries in accord with the rules of purity of the Buddha, the world-honored one? The Buddha said to Ananda, if there are people in the Dharma-ending age who wish to establish a bodhimanda, they should first find a powerful white ox in snowy mountains, one which eats the lush and fertile sweet-smelling grasses of the mountain, since such an ox also drinks only the pure water of the snowy mountain. Its excrement will be very fine. They can take that excrement, mix it with chandana, and plaster the ground with it. If it is not in the snowy mountains, the ox excrement will stink and cannot be used to smear on the ground. In that case, select a level place, dig down 5 feet or so, and use that yellow earth. Mix it with chandana incense, sinking in water incense, jasmine incense, continuously permeating incense, burnished gold incense, white paste incense, green wood incense, fragrant mold incense, sweet pine incense, and chicken tongue incense. Grind these 10 ingredients to a fine powder. Make a paste and smear it on the ground of the platform. The area should be 16 feet wide and octagonal in shape. In the center of the platform, place a lotus flower made of gold, silver, copper, or wood. In the middle of the flower, set a bowl in which dew that has collected in the 8th lunar month has been poured. Let an abundance of flower petals float on the water. Arrange 8 circular mirrors in each direction around the flower and the bowl. Outside the mirrors, place 16 lotus flowers and 16 censers, so that the incense burners are adorned and arranged between the flowers. Burn only sinking in water incense, and do not let the fire be seen. Place the milk of a white ox in 16 vessels, along with cakes made with the milk, rock candy, oil cakes, porridge, turuksha, honeyed ginger, clarified butter, and filtered honey. These 16 are set around the outside of the 16 flowers as an offering to the Buddhas and great bodhisattvas. At every mealtime and at midnight, prepare ½ pint of honey and 3/10 of a pint of clarified butter. Set up a small incense burner in front of the platform. Decoct the fragrant liquid from the turuksha incense and use it to cleanse the coals. Light them so that the blaze bursts forth, and toss the clarified butter and honey into the flaming incenses. Let it burn until the smoke disappears, and present it to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. About the 4 outside walls, one should suspend flags and flowers, and within the room where the platform is located, one should arrange on the 4 walls images of the thus come ones and bodhisattvas of the 10 directions. In the most prominent place, display images of Vairochana Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, Maitreya Bodhisattva, Akshobhya Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, and all the magnificent transformations of Kuan Yin Bodhisattva. To the left and right, place the Vajra Treasury Bodhisattvas. Beside them display the Lord's Chakra and Brahma, Uchushuma, and the Blue Dirga, as well as Kundalin and Brukuti, and all 4 heavenly kings, with Vinayaka to the left and right of the door. Then suspend 8 mirrors in the space around the platform, so that they are exactly opposite the mirrors on the platform. This will allow the reflections in them to interpenetrate ad infinitum. During the first 7 days, bow sincerely to the dust come ones of the 10 directions, to the great bodhisattvas, and to the names of the arhats. Throughout the 6 periods of the day and night, continually recite the mantra as you circumambulate the platform. Practice the way with a sincere mind, reciting the mantra 108 times at a stretch. During the 2nd week, direct your intent by making the vows of a bodhisattva. The mind should never be cut off from them. In my vinaya, I have already taught about vows. During the 3rd week, one holds the Buddhist mantra, Paul-dala, for 12 hours at a time, with a single intent, and on the 7th day, the dust come ones of the 10 directions will appear simultaneously. Their light will be mutually reflected in the mirrors and will illumine the entire place, and they will rub one on the crown of one's head. If one cultivates this samadhi in the bodhimanda, then even in the Dharma ending age, one can study and practice until one's body and mind are as pure and clear as Vaidurya. Ananda, if any one of the bhikshu's precepts transmitting masters, or any one of the other bhikshus practicing with him, is not pure, the bodhimanda as described will not be successful. After 3 weeks, one sits upright and still for 100 days. Those with sharp faculties will not arise from the seats and will become shrotapanas. Although their bodies and minds have not attained the ultimate fruition of sagehood, they know for certain, beyond exaggeration, that they will eventually accomplish Buddhahood. You have asked how the bodhimanda is established. This is the way it is done. Ananda bowed at the Buddha's feet and said, "After I left the home life, I relied on the Buddha's affection regard. Because I sought erudition, I still have not been certified to the unconditioned. When I encountered the Brahma Heaven mantra, I was captured by the divine spell, though my mind was aware. I had no power to free myself. I had to rely on Manjushri Bodhisattva to liberate me. Although I was blessed by the Daskam One spiritual mantra of the Buddhist summit and imperceptibly received its strength, I still have not heard it myself. I only hope that the greatly compassionate One will proclaim it again to kindly rescue all the cultivators in this assembly and those of the future who undergo the turning wheel, so that they may become liberated in body and mind by relying on the Buddha's secret sounds." At that moment, everyone in the great assembly bowed as one and stood waiting to hear the Daskam One's secret divisions and phrases. At that time, 100 brilliant rays sprang from the mount of the flesh on the crown of the well-honored one's head. 1,000-petaled precious lotus arose from amidst those rays. Upon the precious flower sat the Daskam One's transformation. From the crown of that Buddha's head, in turn, 10 beams of light shone forth, each composed of 100 rays of precious light. Every one of those glowing rays shone in lengths as many as the sands of 10 Ganges rivers, while throughout empty space they were Vajra's secret tracer spirits, each holding aloft a mountain and wielding a pestle. The great assembly, gazing upward, felt fearful admiration and sought the Buddha's kind protection. Single-mindedly they listened as the Daskam One, in the light at the invisible appearance on the crown of the Buddha's head, proclaimed the spiritual mantra.
南无萨旦多苏揭多耶阿罗诃帝三藐三菩多谢南无萨旦多佛多觉知塞尼三南无萨婆波多波提萨多比比南无萨多南三藐三菩多觉知南娑舍那波斋神斋南南无卢吉阿罗汉多南南无苏卢多波罗南南无娑揭利多揭弥南南无卢吉三藐斋多南三藐斋波拉提波多南南无提波利塞南南无悉多耶比提耶多拉尼塞南娑波奴揭拉诃娑诃娑南摩多南南无巴拉诃摩尼南无印多拉耶南无波揭波提卢多拉耶无摩波提娑西耶耶南无波揭波提那拉耶那耶班伽摩诃萨摩多拉南无悉揭利多耶南无波揭波提摩诃揭拉耶提利波拉那揭拉比多拉波那揭拉耶阿提摩提什么什么尼波西尼摩丹尼揭那南无悉揭利多耶南无波揭波提多多揭多吉拉耶南无波多摩吉拉耶南无巴舍拉吉拉耶南无摩尼吉拉耶南无揭示吉拉耶南无波揭波提提利迦苏拉西那波拉诃那那拉舍耶多多揭多耶南无波揭波提南无阿弥陀佛耶多多揭多耶阿拉诃帝三藐三菩多耶南无波揭波提阿朱比耶多多揭多耶阿拉诃帝三藐三菩多耶南无波揭波提毗沙舍耶觉如非主利耶波拉波拉舍耶多多揭多耶南无波揭波提三不施毗多沙莲那拉拉舍耶多多揭多耶阿拉诃帝三藐三菩多耶南无波揭波提舍基耶摩那耶多多揭多耶阿拉诃帝三藐三菩多耶南无波揭波提拉丹那揭度拉舍耶多多揭多耶阿拉诃帝三藐三菩多耶地表南无萨揭利多伊当波揭波多萨旦多揭度塞尼三萨旦多波多拉南无阿波拉斯当波拉提扬基拉萨拉波普多揭拉诃尼揭拉诃揭拉诃尼巴拉比提耶揭多尼阿迦拉弥利珠波利达那耶宁揭利萨拉波本多那姆迦尼萨拉波土塞迦土西法波拉尼法拉尼揭度拉舍蒂南揭拉诃娑诃娑拉绕斯毗登崩沙那揭利阿舍迦毗舍蒂南那迦迦丹那绕斯波拉斯多那揭利阿舍迦那摩诃揭拉诃绕斯毗登崩沙那揭利萨波斯图鲁尼波拉绕斯胡恩tu西法南揭那斯尼毗沙斯悉达那阿基尼乌多迦拉绕斯阿波拉斯多揭拉摩诃波拉真智摩诃帝多摩诃帝释摩诃悉多舍波拉摩诃巴拉本多拉波西尼阿利耶多拉比利智智萨波毗舍耶巴舍拉摩利帝毗舍卢多波多王迦巴舍那智诃那阿智摩拉智波波拉智多巴舍拉真智毗舍拉智三多智比帝波普苏摩苏摩卢波摩诃悉多阿利耶多拉摩诃波拉阿波拉巴舍拉神遮拉智波巴舍拉揭摩利吉兰多利巴舍拉诃萨多智比帝耶坚智那摩利迦古苏摩波揭那多那比卢舍那揭利耶耶拉杜塞尼三比揭那波摩尼迦巴舍拉迦那迦波拉波卢舍那巴舍拉真智智随多智迦摩拉迦舍智波拉波伊地摩多拉迦那萨比拉真揭梵度印度拉摩摩塞无心利世揭那波拉斯悉多萨旦多揭度塞尼三无心度卢用迦波那无心度卢用悉旦波那无心度卢用波拉舍地耶萨波迦那无心度卢用萨波要迦诃拉揭娑揭拉诃绕斯毗登崩沙那迦那无心度卢用揭度拉舍地南揭拉诃娑诃娑那南毗登崩沙那那无心度卢用拉迦波迦梵萨旦多揭度塞尼三波拉天舍基利摩诃娑诃萨拉波苏娑诃萨拉舍利舍揭智娑诃萨尼帝利阿毗帝舍波利多迦迦因迦摩诃巴舍卢多拉帝利布巴拉曼迦拉无尽所悉地波波度摩摩印度拉摩摩塞拉舍波耶主拉波耶阿基尼波耶乌多迦波耶毗沙波耶舍沙多拉波耶波拉真遮拉波耶杜塞迦波耶阿基尼波耶阿迦拉弥利珠波耶多拉尼布弥揭波揭波多波耶乌拉迦波多波耶拉什丹迦波耶鸟迦波耶比雕丹波耶苏波那拉波耶姚迦揭拉诃拉迦什揭拉诃帝利多揭拉诃毗舍智揭拉诃布多揭拉诃主班迦揭拉诃布丹那揭拉诃迦迦布丹那揭拉诃悉犍都揭拉诃阿波什摩那揭拉诃乌丹摩多揭拉诃舍耶揭拉诃悉地波提揭拉诃舍多诃利南揭波诃利南卢地拉诃利南蒙萨诃利南弥多诃利南蒙萨诃利南舍多诃利尼舍比多诃利南比多诃利南波多诃利南阿舍遮诃利尼只多诃利尼第三叉比三叉波揭那诃南比多耶舍真多耶弥吉 吉拉耶咪婆利巴拉真知吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪查耶尼吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪摩诃波苏婆达耶鲁多拉吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪那拉耶那吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪丹多拆路拆西吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪摩诃杰拉摩丹尼杰拉吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪加波利加吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪舍耶杰拉摩杜杰拉萨波拉多萨多那吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪杰杜拉波吉尼吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪比利扬吉利兹南多杰舍那杰那波提萨西耶吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪那杰那舍那波那吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪阿罗汉吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪比多拉加吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪巴舍拉波尼杰西耶加利波提吉利丹比多耶是真多耶咪吉拉耶咪拉加旺波加梵印度拉摩摩舍波加梵萨丹多波多拉南摩塞多提奥西多那拉拉加波拉波西布加比加萨丹多波提利舍佛拉多拉宾多拉真多无心班加娑诃西西班阿摩揭耶班阿波拉提诃多班波拉多班阿苏拉比多拉波加班萨波提基比班萨波南揭比班萨波腰加比班萨波犍多波比班萨波布丹那比班加布丹那比班萨波杜朗智利比班萨波杜斯提利杰斯利比班萨波斯波利比班萨波阿波斯摩利比班萨波斯那波那比班萨波提提基比班萨波达摩多揭比班萨波比多耶拉舍这利比班舍耶揭拉摩杜揭拉萨波拉多索多基比班比提耶揭利比班揭杜拉弗吉尼比班巴舍拉揭摩利比多耶拉舍比班摩诃波拉丁扬因吉利比班巴舍拉神揭拉耶波拉真揭拉舍耶班摩诃揭拉耶摩诃摩丹尼揭那南摩娑揭利多耶班比舍那贝耶班波拉诃摩尼耶班诃吉尼耶班摩诃揭利耶班揭拉登揭耶班妙丹尼耶班老丹尼耶班九文迦耶班揭拉拉丹尼耶班迦波利耶班阿提摩智多迦什摩舍那波西尼耶班耶智智萨多波什摩摩印度拉摩摩塞杜塞扎智多阿摩丹尼智多无娑诃拉揭波诃拉卢提拉诃拉波娑诃拉摩娑诃拉斯多诃拉斯比多诃拉波优耶诃拉犍多诃拉布斯波诃拉波拉诃拉波舍诃拉波波智多杜塞扎智多老多拉智多姚扎揭拉诃拉扎什揭拉诃比利波揭拉诃比斯智揭拉诃布多揭拉诃九班扎揭拉诃西犍都揭拉诃无达摩多揭拉诃遮焰揭拉诃阿波什摩拉揭拉诃在这个在基尼揭拉诃离佛提揭拉诃史密迦揭拉诃史基尼揭拉诃姆多拉南帝迦揭拉诃阿兰波揭拉诃犍多波提揭拉诃史佛拉因迦悉迦最提要迦达尼提要迦揭度多迦尼利斯法拉比什摩斯法拉波提迦比提迦舍利萨密迦舍尼波提迦萨波斯法拉舍卢揭提摩多毗勒卢智坚我基卢坚母基卢坚揭利都卢坚揭拉诃揭拉苏兰丹多苏兰揭利耶苏兰摩摩苏兰巴利斯波苏兰比利斯扎苏兰乌多拉苏兰犍智苏兰巴西蒂苏兰乌鲁苏兰犍智苏兰荷西多苏兰波多苏兰索方安迦波拉真智苏兰波多比多扎台基尼舍佛拉德多卢犍都卢揭智波卢多比萨波卢荷林迦苏萨达那索那揭那比塞因迦尔基尼乌多迦摩拉比拉犍多拉荷迦拉米利朱达念布迦比利拉迦比利斯智迦萨波那迦拉舍因揭比揭拉利要迦达那朱摩拉斯斐蒂山萨比山悉丹多波多拉摩诃巴舍卢塞尼山摩诃波拉真智拉耶多诸多舍因斯诺比达尼那比多耶班丹迦罗密底苏班丹迦罗密波拉比多班丹迦罗密达智多安奥拉尼比舍提比勒巴舍拉多利班多尼巴舍拉巴尼班胡行都卢用班萨婆诃
Ananda, this cluster of light atop the crown of the Buddha's head, the secret Gata, Sitanto Podala, with its subtle, wonderful divisions and phrases, gives birth to all the Buddhas of the 10 directions. Because the thus come ones of the 10 directions use this mantra heart, they realize unsurpassed, proper, and all-pervading knowledge and enlightenment. Because the thus come ones of the 10 directions take up this mantra heart, they subdue all demons and control all adherents of the outside ways. Because the thus come ones of the 10 directions avail themselves to this mantra heart. They sit upon jeweled lotus flowers and respond throughout countries as numerous as motes of dust. Because the dust come once of the 10 directions, embody this mantra heart, they turn the great Dharma wheel in lands as numerous as fine motes of dust. Because the dust come once of the 10 directions, hold this mantra heart, they're able to go throughout the 10 directions to rub beams on the crowns of their heads and bestow predictions upon them. Also, anyone in the 10 directions who has not yet realized the fruition can receive a Buddha's prediction. Because the dust come once of the 10 directions are based in this mantra heart, they can go throughout the 10 directions to rescue beings from such suffering as being in the hells, being hungry ghosts, being animals, or being blind, deaf, or mute, as well as from the suffering of being together with those one hates, from the suffering of being apart from those one loves, from the suffering of not obtaining what one seeks, and from the raging blaze of the 5 skandhas. They liberate beings from both large and small accidents. In response to their recitation, difficulty with thieves, difficulty with armies, difficulty with the law, difficulty with imprisonment, difficulty with wind, fire, and water, and difficulty with hunger, thirst, and impoverishment are all eradicated. Because the dust come once of the 10 directions are in accord with this mantra heart, they can serve good and wise advisors throughout the 10 directions. In the 4 aspects of awesome deportment, they make wish-fulfilling offerings. In the assemblies as many dust come once as there are sands in the Ganges, they are considered to be great Dharma princes. Because the dust come once of the 10 directions, practice this mantra heart, they can gather in and teach their relatives in the 10 directions, causing those of the small vehicle not to be frightened when they hear the secret treasury. Because the dust come once of the 10 directions, recite this mantra heart, they realize unsurpassed enlightenment while sitting beneath the Bodhi tree, and they enter parinirvana. Because the dust come once of the 10 directions, transmit this mantra heart. Those to whom they have bequeathed the Bodhidharma can, after their nirvana, dwell in it completely and uphold it. Being strict and pure about the precepts and rules, they can all obtain purity. If I were to explain this mantra, Bodhala, of the cluster of light atop the crown of the Buddha's head from morning till night, in an unceasing sound, without ever repeating any syllable or phrase, I could go on for as many kalpas as there are sands in the Ganges, and still never finish. I also would tell you that this mantra is called the crown of the Daskam One. All of you with something left to study, who have not yet put an end to the cycle of rebirth and yet have brought forth sincere resolve to become arahats, will find it impossible to sit in the bodhimanda and be far removed in body and mind from all demonic deeds if you do not hold this mantra. Ananda, let any living being of any country in any world copy out this mantra in writing on materials native to his region, such as birch bark, patra, plain paper, or white cotton cloth, and store it in a pouch containing incense. If that person wears the pouch on his body, or if he keeps a copy in his home, then you should know that even if he understands so little that he cannot recite it from memory, he will not be harmed by any poison during his entire life. Ananda, I will now tell you more about how this mantra can rescue and protect the world help people obtain great fearlessness, and bring to accomplishment living beings' transcendental wisdom. You should know that, after my extinction, if there are beings in the Dharma-ending age who can recite the mantra themselves or teach others to recite it, such people who recite and uphold it cannot be burned by fire, cannot be drowned by water, and cannot be harmed by mild or potent poisons. And so it is in every other case, such that they cannot be possessed by any evil mantra, or any heavenly dragon, ghost or spirit, or by any essence, weird creature or demonic ghost. These people's mind will attain proper reception, so that any spell, any paralyzing sorcery, any poison or poisoning gold, any poisoning silver, any plant, tree, insect or snake, and any of the myriad kinds of poisonous vapors will turn into sweet dew when it enters their mouths. No evil stars and no ghost or spirit that harbors malice in its hearts and that poisons people can work its evil on these people. Vinayaka, as well as all the evil ghost kings and their retinues, will be led by deep kindness to always guard and protect them. Ananda, you should know that 84,000 Nayutas of Ganges sands of Kotis of Vajra treasury king bodhisattvas and their descendants, each with Vajra multitudes as retinue, are ever in attendance, day and night, upon this mantra. If living beings whose minds are scattered, and who have no samadhi, remember and recite the mantra, the Vajra kings will always surround them. Therefore, good men, that is even more true for those who are decisively resolved upon Bodhi. All the Vajra treasury king bodhisattvas will regard them attentively and secretly hasten the opening of their spiritual consciousness. When that response occurs, those people will be able to remember the events of as many kalpas as there are grains of sand in 84,000 Ganges rivers, knowing them all beyond any doubt. From that kalpa onward, through every life, until the time they take their last body, they will not be born where there are yakshas, raksaksas, putanas, kataputanas, kumbandas, pisachas, and so forth, where there is any kind of hungry ghost, whether with form or lacking form, or with thought or lacking thought, or in any such evil place. If these good people read, recite, copy, or write out the mantra, if they carry it or treasure it, if they make offerings to it, then through kalpa after kalpa, they will not be poor or lowly, nor will they be born in unpleasant places. If these living beings have never accumulated any blessings, the thus come ones of the 10 directions will bestow their own merit and virtue upon these people. Because of that, through asankheyas of ineffable, unspeakable numbers of kalpas, as many as the Ganges sands, they are always together with the Buddhas. They are born in the same place, due to their limitless merit and virtue, and like the Amala fruit cluster, they stay in the same place, become permeated with cultivation, and are never parted. Therefore, it can enable those who have broken the precepts to regain the purity of the precept source. It can enable those who have not received the precepts to receive them. It can cause those who are not vigorous to become vigorous. It can enable those who lack wisdom to gain wisdom. It can cause those who are not pure to quickly become pure. It can cause those who do not hold to vegetarianism to become vegetarians naturally. Ananda, if good men who uphold this mantra violated the pure precepts before they received the mantra, their multitude of offenses incurred by violating the precepts, whether major or minor, can simultaneously be eradicated after they begin to uphold the mantra. Even if they drank intoxicants or ate the 5 pungent plants and various other impure things in the past, the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Vajras, gods, immortals, ghosts, and spirits will not hold it against them. If they are unclean and wear tattered old clothes to carry out the single practice and single dwelling, they can be equally pure. Even if they do not set up the platform, do not enter the bodhimanda, and do not practice the way, but recite and uphold this mantra, the merit and virtue will be identical with that derived from entering the platform and practicing the way. If they have committed the 5 rebellious acts, grave offenses, warranting unintermittent retribution, or if they are bhikshus or bhikshunis who have violated the 4 parajikas or the 8 parajikas, such heavy karma as this will disperse after they recite this mantra, like a sand dune that is scattered in a gale, so that not a particle remains. Ananda, if living beings who have never repented and reformed any of the obstructive offenses, either heavy or light, that they have committed throughout countless kalpas past, up to and including those of this very life, can nevertheless read, recite, copy, or write out this mantra, or wear it on their bodies, or place it in their homes, or in their garden houses, then all that accumulated karma will melt away like snow in hot water. Before long, they will obtain awakening to patience with the non-existence of beings and phenomena. Moreover, Ananda, if women who do not have children and want to conceive can sincerely memorize and recite this mantra or carry the mantra Sitanto Podala on their bodies, they can give birth to sons or daughters endowed with blessings, virtue, and wisdom. Those who seek long life will obtain long life. Those who seek to quickly perfect their reward will quickly gain perfection. The same is true for those who seek something regarding their bodies, their lives, their appearance, or their strength. At the end of their lives, they will gain the rebirth they hope for, in whichever of the countries of the 10 directions they wish. They certainly will not be born in poorly endowed places, or as inferior people. Even less will they be reborn in some odd form. Ananda, if there is famine or plague in a country, province or village, or if perhaps there are armed troops, brigands, invasions, wars, or any other kind of local threat or danger, one can write out the spiritual mantra and place it on the 4 city gates, or on the chaitya, or on the davaja, and instruct all the people of the country to gaze upon the mantra, to make obeisance to it, to revere it, and to single-mindedly make offerings to it. One can instruct all the citizens to wear it in on their bodies, or to place it in their homes, and then all such disasters and calamities will completely disappear. Ananda, in each and every country where the people accord with this mantra, the heavenly dragons are delighted, the winds and rains are seasonal, the crops are abundant, and the people are peaceful and happy. It can also suppress all evil stars, which may appear in any of the directions, and transform themselves in uncanny ways. Calamities and obstructions will not arise. People will not die accidentally or unexpectedly, nor will they be bound by fetters, kanjas, or locks. Day and night they will be at peace, and no evil dreams will disturb their sleep. Ananda, this Saha world has 84,000 changeable and disastrous evil stars. 28 great evil stars are the leaders, and of these, 8 great evil stars are the rulers. They take various shapes, and when they appear in the world, they bring disaster and weird happenings upon living beings. But they will all be eradicated wherever there is the mantra. The boundaries will be secured for 12 yojanas around, and no evil calamity or misfortune will ever enter it. Therefore, the Thus Come One proclaims this mantra as one which will protect those of the future who have just begun to study, as well as all cultivators, so that they can enter samadhi, be peaceful in body and mind, and attain great tranquility. Even less will any demon, ghost, or spirit, or any enemy, calamity, or misfortune due from former lives that reach back to beginningless time, or any old karma or past steps come to vex and harm them. As to you and everyone in the assembly who is still studying, and as to cultivators of the future who rely on my platform, hold the precepts in accord with the Dharma, receive the precepts from pure members of the Sangha, and hold this mantra hard without giving rise to doubts. Should such good people as these not obtain mind penetration in that very body born of their parents, then the Thus Come Ones of the 10 directions have lied. When he finished this explanation, measureless hundreds of thousands of Vajra power knights in the assembly came before the Buddha, placed their palms together, bowed, and said, with sincere hearts, we will protect those who cultivate bodhi in this way, according to what the Buddha has said. Then the Brahma king, the god Shakra, and the 4 great heavenly kings all came before the Buddha, made obeisance together, and said to the Buddha, if indeed there be good men who cultivate and study in this way, we will do all we can to earnestly protect them and cause everything to be as they would wish throughout their entire lives. Moreover, measureless great Yaksha generals, Raksasa kings, Putana kings, Kumbanda kings, Pisacha kings, Vinayaka, the great ghost kings, and all the ghost commanders came before the Buddha, put their palms together, and made obeisance. We also have vowed to protect these people and to cause their resolve for bodhi to be quickly perfected. Further, measureless numbers of gods of the sun and moon, lords of the rain, lords of the clouds, lords of thunder, lords of lightning who patrol throughout the year, and all the retinues of stars which were also in the assembly, bowed at the Buddha's feet and said to the Buddha, we also protect all cultivators so that their bodhimandas are peaceful and they attain fearlessness. Moreover, measureless numbers of mountain spirits, sea spirits, and all those of the earth, the myriad creatures and essences of water, land, and the air, as well as the king of wind spirits and the gods of the formless heavens, came before the Thus Come One, bowed their heads and said to the Buddha, we also will protect these cultivators until they attain bodhi, and will never let any demons have their way with them. Then the Vajra Treasury King Bodhisattvas, in the great assembly, numbering as many as 84,000 nayutas of kotis worth of sands in the Ganges, arose from their seats, bowed at the Buddha's feet, and said to the Buddha, World-honored One, the nature of our deeds in cultivation is such that, although we have long since accomplished bodhi, we do not grasp at nirvana, but always accompany those who hold this mantra, rescuing and protecting those in the final age who cultivate samadhi properly. World-honored one, such people as these, who cultivate their minds and seek proper concentration, whether in the bodhimanda or walking about, and even such people who with scattered minds roam and play in the villages, will be accompanied and protected by us and our retinue of followers. Although the demon kings and the god of great comfort will seek to get at them, they will never be able to do so. The smaller ghosts will have to stay 10 yojanas distance from these good people, except for those beings who have decided they want to cultivate dhyana. World-honored one, if such evil demons or their retinues want to harm or disturb these good people, we will smash their heads to smithereens with our Vajra pestles. We will always help these people to accomplish what they want. Then Ananda arose from his seat, bowed at the Buddha's feet, and said to the Buddha, "Now that we, who are stupid and slow, who are fond of erudition, but have not sought to cease the outflows of our minds, have received the Buddha's compassionate instructions, and have attained the proper means to become infused with cultivation, we experience joy in body and mind, and obtain tremendous benefit. World-honored one, for one who cultivates this way, and is certified as having attained the Buddha's samadhi, but who has not yet reached nirvana, what is meant by the level of dry wisdom? What are the 44 minds? What is the sequence in which one cultivates till one reaches one's goal? What place must one reach to be said to have entered the grounds? And what is meant by a bodhisattva of equal enlightenment? Having said this, he made a full prostration, and then the great assembly single-mindedly awaited the sound of the Buddha's compassionate voice as they gazed up, unblinking, with respectful admiration. At that time, the world-honored one praised Ananda, saying, good indeed, that you can, for the sake of the entire great assembly and those beings in the final age who cultivate samadhi and seek the great vehicle, ask to have explained and revealed the unsurpassed proper path of cultivation that takes one from the level of an ordinary person to final parinirvana. Listen attentively, and I will speak about it for you. Ananda and everyone in the assembly placed their palms together, cleansed their minds, and silently waited to receive the teaching. The Buddha said, Ananda, you should know that the wonderful nature is perfect and bright, apart from all names and appearances. Basically, there is no world, nor are there any living beings. Because of falseness, there is production. Because of production, there is extinction. The names production and extinction are false. When the false is extinguished, there is truth, which is called the Daskam One's unsurpassed bodhi and great nirvana. Those are names for two kinds of turning around. Ananda, you now wish to cultivate true samadhi and arrive directly at the Daskam One's parinirvana. First, you should recognize the two upside-down causes of living beings and the world. If these upside-down states are not produced, then there is the Daskam One's true samadhi. Ananda, what is meant by the upside-down state of living beings? Ananda, the reason that the nature of the mind is bright is that the nature itself is the perfection of brightness. By adding brightness, another nature arises, and from that false nature, views are produced, so that from absolute nothingness comes ultimate existence. All that exists comes from this. Every cause, in fact, has no cause, Subjective reliance on objective appearances is basically groundless. Thus, upon what is fundamentally unreliable, one sets up the world and living beings. Confusion about one's basic, perfect understanding results in the arising of falseness. The nature of falseness is devoid of substance. It is not something which can be relied upon. One may wish to return to the truth, but that wish for the truth is already a falseness. The real nature of true suchness is not a truth that one can seek to return to. By doing so, one misses the mark. What basically is not produced, what basically does not dwell, what basically is not the mind, and what basically are not phenomena, arise through interaction. As they arise more and more strongly, they form the propensity to create karma. Similar karma sets up a mutual stimulus. Because of the karma thus generated, there is mutual production and mutual extinction. This is the reason for the upside-down state of living beings. Ananda, what is meant by the upside-down state of the world? All that exists comes from this. The world is set up because of the false arising of sections and shares. Every cause, in fact, has no cause. Everything that is dependent has nothing on which it is dependent, and so it shifts and slides and is unreliable. Because of this, the world of the three periods of time and four directions comes into being. The union and interaction of time and direction bring about changes which result in the 12 categories of living beings. That is why in this world, movement brings about sounds, sounds bring about forms, forms bring about smells, smells bring about contact, contact brings about taste, and taste bring about awareness or mental constructs. The random false thinking resulting from these 6 creates karma, and this continuous revolving becomes the cause of 12 different categories. And so, in the world, sounds, smells, tastes, contact, and the like are each transformed throughout the 12 categories to make one complete cycle. The appearance of being upside down is based on this continuous process. Therefore, in the world, there are those born from eggs, those born from wombs, those born from moisture, those born by transformation, those with form, those without form, those with thought, those without thought, those not totally endowed with form, those not totally lacking form, those not totally endowed with thought, and those not totally lacking thought. Ananda, through a continuous process of falseness, the upside-down state of movement occurs in this world. It unites with energy to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that either fly or sink. From this, there come into being the 8 kalalas, which multiply throughout the lands in the form of fish, birds, amphibians, and reptiles, so that their kinds abound. Through a continuous process of defilement, the upside-down state of desire occurs in this world. It unites with stimulation to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that are either upright or perverse. From this there come into being the womb arbudas, which multiply throughout the world in the form of humans, animals, dragons, and immortals, until their kinds abound. Through a continuous process of attachment, the upside-down state of inclination occurs in this world. It unites with warmth to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that are vacillating and inverted. From this, there come into being, through moisture, the appearance of passes, which multiply throughout the lands in the form of insects and crawling invertebrates until their kinds abound. Through a continuous process of change, the upside-down state of borrowing occurs in this world. It unites with contact to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of new and old. From this they come into being, through transformation, the appearance of ganas, which multiply throughout the lands in the form of metamorphic flying and crawling creatures, until their kinds abound. Through a continuous process of restraint, the upside-down state of obstruction occurs in this world. It unites with attachment to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of refinement and brilliance. From this they come into being, the ganas of appearance that possess form, which multiply throughout the lands in the form of auspicious and inauspicious essences, until their kinds abound. Through a continuous process of annihilation and dispersion, the upside-down state of delusion occurs in this world. It unites with darkness to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of obscurity and hiding. From this they come into being, the ganas of formless beings, which multiply throughout the lands, as those that are empty, dispersed, annihilated, and submerged, until their kinds abound. Through a continuous process of illusory imaginings, the upside-down state of shadows occurs in this world. It unites with memory to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that are hidden and bound up. From this they come into being, the ganas of those with thought, which multiply throughout the lands in the form of spirits, ghosts, and weird essences, until their kinds abound. Through a continual process of dullness and slowness, the upside-down state of stupidity occurs in this world. It unites with obstinacy to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts that are dry and attenuated. From this they come into being, the ganas of those without thought, which multiply throughout the lands as their essence and spirit change into earth, wood, metal, or stone, until their kinds abound. Through a continuous process of parasitic interaction, the upside-down state of simulation occurs in this world. It unites with defilement to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of according and relying. From this there come into being those not totally endowed with form, who become ganas of form, which multiply throughout the lands until their kinds abound, in such ways as jellyfish that use shrimp for eyes. Through a continuous process of mutual enticement, an upside-down state of the nature occurs in this world. It unites with mantras to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of beckoning and summoning. From these there come into being those not totally lacking form, who take ganas which are formless and multiply throughout the lands until their kinds abound, as the hidden beings of mantras and incantations. Through a continuous process of false unity, the upside-down state of transgression occurs in this world. It unites with unlike formations to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of reciprocal interchange. From this they come into being those not totally endowed with thought, which become ganas possessing thought, and which multiply throughout the lands until their kinds abound in such forms as the varata, which turns a different creature into its own species. Through a continuous process of enmity and harm, the upside-down state of killing occurs in this world. It unites with monstrosities to become 84,000 kinds of random thoughts of devouring one's father and mother. From this there come into being those not totally lacking thought, who take ganas with no thought, and multiply throughout the lands, until their kinds abound in such forms as the dirt owl, which hatches its young from clods of dirt, and the pouching bird, which incubates a poisonous fruit to create its young. In each case, the young, thereupon, eat the parents. These are the 12 categories of living beings.